areas like laytime is a typical sort of agenda, congestion, ships being delayed, NOR, notice of readiness, all this terminology. This is part of sort of charter parties, laytime. Johanna Oldendorf, beautiful old cargo ship from my generation, 60s. Oldendorf is a major German company, a world leader in tramp shipping even today. Not ships like this anymore. This is the new Johanna Oldendorf for 67,000, what do you think? Panamax? Do you think that's the Panamax size? Johanna in the 60s, 10,000. Registered in Lubeck, nice, you can see she's brand new. Nice clean hull. A tramp ship would never have a clean hull for very long, I don't think. And flying a lot of flags, it suggests that she's on a maiden voyage. But this ship is very important, although she was involved in a laytime issue in the 1960s. And 1972, I think, was although there was a claim by Oldendorf for laytime, the ship was delayed in the port of Liverpool, and this went right through the sort of legal system in Britain, right through to the House of Lords. I don't know if do you get Lloyd's reports, legal reports at the Institute at Solent? Yeah, this one here, I think you should be able to find this one if you're interested. So this is studied today, not just as an historical element, but the factors, the findings of the case on Johanna Oldendorf are still used today. So if there's a dispute about laytime, Johanna Oldendorf, even in 2015, Johanna Oldendorf could be used as like, I think you would refer to it as case law. And it's a good example. So this is the sort of thing that shipping students around the world would focus on. My beautiful assistant here, John, has just drawn the. Maybe you want to talk us through this, John. But this is a sort of a nice practical example of this Johanna Oldendorf dispute. She had a cargo of grain from New York, loaded in New York across the Atlantic, so 10,000 ton deadweight ship. What do you think? 9,000 tons or something of grain, maybe, across the Atlantic. Okay, it's not today's size of shipment, is it? You would expect to see grain coming across the Atlantic in handy size or at least Panamax size. But this was 1960s or something, you see. Now, when the ship arrived, this is John here's artwork, and it's quite a masterpiece. Where's Liverpool? Here is Liverpool. Yeah, you've heard of this place. Not a very good football team, I don't think. When she arrived out here somewhere, the berth was not ready. She cannot discharge, you see. So the question is, has the ship arrived in the port? The ship was anchored out here somewhere, 17 miles away from the port. Has the ship arrived, you see? So it's quite a nice dispute for the lawyers. And the ship said, yes, I have arrived. I'm knocking on the door. I'm giving notice of readiness, you see. But the charterer said, no, you're 17 miles away. No, you haven't arrived. Now, this was important because when does laytime start? This is a spot market, a voyage charter. When can this ship start to charge laytime, you see? So Oldendorf, a very traditional German tramp ship owner, is saying, yes, we have arrived, you see. So this went to dispute, and it went right through the legal systems to the House of Lords. And it was actually proven that Oldendorf did have a case. The ship had arrived, even though it wasn't here in the docks in Liverpool. I don't know what the delay was. There was a delay in the port. Could it have been a strike or whatever? British ports in that period, 60s, were always on strike, I'm afraid. ashamed to say, but so this was quite an interesting case. But also, this is the sort of thing that students would learn around the world. This is the sort of area of teaching that we can learn from examples. So Mr. Oldendorf is saying, yes, we have arrived, and I want paying. I want to claim lay time for the delay. And he went right to the House of Lords, to the sort of highest court in Britain, and he proved the case. But I think it took 5 or 6 years to get there. And of course, it keeps the lawyers very happy, such business, you see. So that's the sort of typical sort of agenda in maritime training. You know, why do we need to know that? Because it is a very important case law for the future. So that's sort of like the P&I clubs are saying, hey guys, we don't want to make the same mistake again. Be very careful with the wording of the charter party. Did you mean Liverpool, or did you mean Alexandra Dock, or whatever the dock would be for loading or discharging grain in Liverpool? Which berth would it be? Be more specific, you see. Another area that I've focused on in all my sort of teaching has been sort of operations, safe navigation, and something quite topical, the safe haven concept. So I'll probably finish off on that, the safe haven concept. What happens when a ship gets into difficulties? It's looking for a safe haven. It's in class. So tankers like the Erika and the Prestige, you're aware of these tankers. Students around the world know about Erika and Prestige because these created history. These created a bad stain on the reputation of shipping. But also, there were ships that were looking for a safe haven, shelter. The Castor was another ship in the Mediterranean, had a hull crack, and it was denied a safe haven. It was towed around the Mediterranean for 4 weeks. This ship here, the Prestige, do you know the story of the Prestige? I think 2002, with a cargo of Russian fuel oil, and here is the North European, French and Spanish coastline, the Prestige, and she got into problems here. Galicia, is it Galicia or Galicia? The Atlantic rolls in quite heavy there, and this old lady, the Prestige, she's an old lady of 26 years of age, and had a bit of a rough life. And of course, these big South Atlantic breakers are moving in and hitting the side of the hull, and eventually some of the hull plating gave way, and she got into a problem. Why I wanted my students to be aware of this, because the captain wanted safe haven. He wanted shelter. He wanted to go into a port to get, sort of repairs, to get out of the storm, out of these Atlantic rollers hitting him on the side, you see. And this is, around here is where the problem first started. But the Spanish, the Coast Guard authorities said, oh gosh, what's no in Spanish? No. Deutsch, it's 9. What's no is how to be emphatic in Espana. They said, no, we're not open for business. You're not coming here. No safe haven for Prestige. This is a flag of convenience ship. It's not on Spanish business. It's transiting Spanish waters, of course. The Coast Guard said, no, take it away. And there was a salvage tug came to rescue. The salvage tug was requested to take the ship out to sea. So she was towed out from around here, and this is where she sank. And of course, 60-something thousand tons of Russian fuel oil, pretty heavy, horrible stuff. What's going to happen to that fuel oil when the ship sinks? Bearing in mind that these waves are coming all the way from Brazil across the South Atlantic to hit the stormy coastline of Portugal and northern Spain. What's going to happen to the oil, do you think? So there was quite a nasty oil spill on Spanish beaches. So this was the concept of safe haven. So the Prestige was denied safe haven, and that's what happened. She was towed out to sea, and she broke her back, and then all the oil. Yeah. It's a case. I mean, the Prestige is a case study in substandard operation. So I'm very keen that students should be aware of such, what good practice is and what's not so good practice, and everything about the Prestige was wrong. And I don't know if you're aware of this this term, a brass plate or a brass nameplate company, where the office has, whatever the company is called, Prestige Shipping, there is an office somewhere in Monrovia that says this is the office for Prestige Shipping. But of course, when this accident has happened, the lights were on, but no one was home. It was just a nameplate, a brass nameplate outside the office. You can't find, where are the owners? Where are they? You see, disappeared. Yeah. So that's a sort of that's a sort of thing that can happen. And poor old Captain Mangouras, a Greek captain, he was treated like a criminal. The seafaring community thought he was a hero. What he did was good to save the ship, but of course he was the only person the Spanish authorities could hold. They couldn't find the owners. The old man spends a year in. He's older than me, 68 then. You see, spent a year in a Spanish prison. So this is what can happen: criminalisation of the seafarer.